Hello, this is Donna Lewis with the Clark County Park District, and today I'm bringing you the Crow Reading and Nature program in collaboration with the New Carlisle Library. CROW stands for Children Respecting Ohio Wildlife. So each week, or each month I should say, in this program, we talk about wildlife in some way. So today we're talking about the bugs found in your backyards and who eats them. So there are a lot of animals out there that eat bugs for lunch, dinner, an afternoon snack. Okay, this is their food. So what are you having for lunch today? Or did you have your lunch? Did it include bugs? Hopefully not. Most of us don't eat bugs, okay? But I mean, I don't enjoy eating bugs. Sometimes they might get in our food, right, when we're having a picnic. But there are some people in the world that even eat bugs, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So, but first, I'm going to read a book called Bugs for Lunch. Let me find my book. Here it is. Bugs for Lunch. Okay. It's written by Marjorie Facklum, illustrated by Sylvia Long. It's a really cute book. So we're going to read this book, and all right. And then we'll talk a little bit about what eats bugs that lives in Ohio. If your lunch was a bug, who could you be? Maybe a nuthatch at work in a tree. So there's a nuthatch going after these caterpillars here, all right? And you'll see these in Ohio and at your feeders if you have feeders. You can see feeders behind me, and you might see birds as we talk. Or maybe a spider trapping a fly. Ooh, she's got a fly in her web. Or a bat catching bugs as it cruises the sky. So there's a bat trying to catch a moth. You might be a gecko. Or maybe a mouse eating the insects in somebody's house. So geckos eat lots of bugs, all right? We don't have geckos in Ohio, but in some parts of the country. And mice eat bugs. So if there's a mouse cruising around your house, they might eat your food, but they might also eat the insects that you don't want around. You might be a shrew, not just eating lunch, but snacking all day on bugs by the bunch. So this shrew, okay, he's going to eat a lot during the day. They have a fast metabolism, so they kind of munch all day long. I do that when I'm home during COVID, right? You could be a toad zapping a fly with a flip of the tongue in the blink of an eye. So toads are really good at getting bugs. They can snatch them with their tongue. So there's a toad getting some bugs for food. Or maybe a mantis ready to prey on any size insect that happens its way. So the praying mantis, is going to get bugs that come just pass by him. They're just unlucky. They're wrong place, wrong time. You might be a trout at home in a brook looking for insects that aren't on a hook. Hopefully, the trout will get insects that won't get him caught, right? You could be a bear searching for honey, but finding that bees taste just as yummy. So bears love to get that honey, but they'll also eat the bees that are in the honey. Or maybe an aardvark whose tongue, long and sticky, slurps termites and ants that others think icky. So termites' snout and tongue are made for getting those bugs. You could be a plant that can't chase a fly, but just sits and waits for its food to drop by. So there are some plants out there, like the Venus flytrap here, or the sundew plant that catches bugs and absorbs them, so it eats them basically. If your lunch was a bug, you might be just you. What, me? I don't eat bugs. Munching on insects, as some people do. So some people in other countries do eat bugs. Did I show that very good? So there's one page and another page. So that was Bugs for Lunch. That's the end. You thought certainly they wouldn't show people in there, but I thought this was a great book because it talks about people in some parts of the world eat bugs. That's a big part of their nutrition in some parts of the world out there. All right, so bugs for lunch. So what kind of wildlife live in your yard that would eat bugs? So if you go outside today and you look outside and you see some bugs, can you find any bugs that you think eat other bugs? Or are you going to find butterflies that drink nectar? You might have bugs that eat rotten things on the ground, but there's also a lot of bugs that eat bugs. Now, if we're talking about, so we're talking about insects and spiders, okay? All kinds of bugs. What's the difference? So insects, okay, if you're talking about an actual insect, it has 3 body parts: head, thorax, and abdomen. All right, so 3 body parts and 6 legs. Can you count 6 legs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you watch Bailey's video on Thursday, she'll show you how to make an ant at home. Okay, make your own ant. All right, now a spider, now this little puppet doesn't really show it well, okay, but a spider has 2 body parts, so a head and the abdomen. Okay, so everything's in those 2 body parts, and he has 8 legs. Hard to count on this guy, but he has 8 legs. All right, so spiders are bugs too, but they're arachnids, not insects. All right, so birds of all kinds eat bugs. Nuthatches themselves, all right, eat mostly insects. They hunt upside down on the tree, all right, and they eat mostly insects and spiders. They eat these spiders too, okay, not so big, but little spiders during the summer. They eat mostly seeds in the winter because insects aren't available, but their young are fed entirely on insects and spiders. So in the summer, when you see a nuthatch in a tree, it's going to eat all insects, okay? It's looking for little things under the bark or crawling around on the bark, probably grubs underneath the bark. So that's why they're hunting upside down. Now, we'll see nuthatches here at our feeders back there. Mostly, they're probably eating the suet, okay? Because that is a fat, like a bug, okay? So other birds that eat bugs in your yard is the red-bellied woodpecker. Now, some people think this woodpecker is called a red-headed woodpecker. This woodpecker is actually called the red-bellied woodpecker, okay? It does have red head, but a red on its head, but it also has red on its chest, okay? The red-headed, all right, is this guy. It's hard to see in that picture. They have a full red head, like they put a red hood on, okay? Now, chimney swifts, they are like cigar-shaped birds that fly. This picture's not very good, so they fly in the air catching insects at night. Some people will have them in their old-style masonry chimneys. Nighthawks, they have a pretty decent picture of a nighthawk in here. This is the Ohio Division of Wildlife's guide for birds. This is a common nighthawk. He's hard to see, and that is the point. So you have to have mom look those up, mom or dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever you're with today. Maybe you can take a break if you're online schooling. So the nighthawk blends in really good. Now the nighthawk has a gigantic mouth. So as it hunts around in the sky at night, and it's about this big with its wings open, they'll make this piercing, keening sound, okay? They're catching bugs. So around us, Fairborn, Ohio, if you go there at night above the Giovanni's, which is really good, you'll see them at night this time of year, okay? Now, they'll probably be migrating soon, but they're here in the summer. Hummingbirds, yes, hummingbirds eat bugs. They also eat nectar, but they love spiders and gnats, okay? Chickadees love spiders, so they'll get the tiny, hummingbirds use the web, okay, the silk from the web in their nest, so they'll also eat the spider in there too. Other birds are like the yellow warbler. This is a migratory songbird, okay, the yellow warbler. The cedar waxwing, okay, they'll eat some bugs, but they're also big fruit eaters. But a lot of birds that we think just eat one thing will eat other stuff depending on the season. Like the robin is a bug eater, okay, but they'll eat seeds if they're here in the winter, and berries. So what else was I on? Caroline chickadee, a crow. The American crow eats about anything, and bugs are definitely on the menu, okay? So, and the blue jay, which I'm sporting today on my earrings, definitely eat bugs, all right? And they'll eat seeds as well. So blue jays eat a lot of stuff too, and they're related to the crow, so that makes sense. All right, so all kinds of birds out there eat bugs. Bats, okay, bats, one of my favorite animals. There's not too much that's not my favorite, but bats are pretty cool. The only flying mammal. These guys eat bugs on the wing. So they fly around, they look crazy, okay? Like they don't know what they're doing. Like they can't see, but they can see very well at night. And they hunt by putting sounds out with their mouth, and the echo bounces off the object. Okay, let's say this guy's flying, his wings are out, all right, this beetle. Big brown bats in Ohio love beetles. So let's say he's hunting a beetle or a moth, okay? He hits it with his wing to get it near his mouth. So he'll hit that little bug with his wing and scoop it up with his tail and his other wing and snatch it. Excuse me, and this is very fast, happens very fast. So they eat on the wing, but they don't just snatch them with their mouth. They usually use their wing and their tail to get them, but they eat while they're flying. So these guys eat lots of beetles. Some bats eat lots of mosquitoes and other mosquito-sized bugs. A little brown bat, little tiny guy, okay? Little bat, all right? They can eat about oh gosh, what does it say? If you have a colony of those, they can eat about 100,000 insects a night. So very helpful. We don't want all those bugs around, right? So when a bat uses those sounds to catch their food, do you guys know what it's called? I'm gonna give you a second. What is that called when these guys put out sounds and bounces off the object and comes back? That's an echolocation, okay? So that's what that's called when bats hunt for bugs. Bugs eat bugs, all right? So a spider, like the garden spider, so if you look in your mom's flower bed, sometimes you'll find the black and yellow. I didn't have a good example. A garden spider, and they make a zigzag in the middle of their web. That is to keep birds from flying through it. It's harmful. It can be harmful for the birds. They can get caught in the web. And spiders don't want birds in their web because they're too big to eat. Okay, so they'll get caught in the web, and they eat lots of bugs. And she might, like, if she catches a bug, like a fly, she'll wrap it up like a burrito and suck out the juices. It's kind of gross. But Halloween is coming up, right? So we can talk about that stuff. Other predatory insects are assassin bugs, and I'm going to talk about those later in the fall. So I'm not going to talk too much about them, but they're pretty effective predators that we want in our gardens. They're also called wheel bugs. The ones around here, though, are the assassin bugs. Green lacewings. This is a green lacewing. Not so much the bug itself. The adult doesn't really eat bugs, but the nymph, the larva, and the nymphs eat bugs. Okay, I think it's the larva. The larvae are called aphid lines. I have to have my cheat sheet today. So the larvae are called aphid lines. They eat a lot of aphids. So you'll see those little tiny red aphids on the plants, and they eat those. Ladybugs, the larvae and adults. We love these little ladybugs, right? They're so pretty, but they're really good predators, okay? So they're on that flower, not so you can get a good picture of them, but so they can find some aphids and mites, okay? That's what they like to eat. Ground beetles. These are really pretty beetles that really shine. You can see sometimes the green ones. Here's ground beetles. We have a lot of ground beetles in Ohio. And the larvae eat slugs, root maggots, that sounds disgusting, and cutworms. Ooh, yum, all right? Wouldn't you love to be a bug? And syrphid flies. I didn't get a syrphid fly picture. The larvae eat aphids on plants. The syrphid flies look a little bit like a bee, all right? When they're hunting, you'll think it's a bee, and it might be a fly. Predatory stink bugs is in here somewhere in one of my pictures. So the predatory stink bug is this. All right, we have stink bugs, all right? But a lot of the stink bugs we see, the ones that get in our house, are the brown marmorated stink bugs, and they're very invasive. They're not from Ohio. But the predatory stink bugs feed on over 100 insects, okay? Really good predators that we want around. Another one is the minute pirate bugs. They eat aphids and mites, and they're really tiny. So I challenge you to go out in your yard and try to find some of these guys. If you have a magnifying glass, it's really fun to look for those bugs with the magnifying glass. Just don't burn the bugs with the sun, okay? Be very careful. And look for just the tiny bugs that are around your mom's plants, and you might discover some I didn't talk about today, okay? So lots of bugs eat bugs. Garter snakes, okay? These are a very harmless snake that we'll find in our backyards. They eat a lot of bugs, all right? They love slugs and snails, earthworms, and grasshoppers. Lots of different kinds of bugs, okay? Completely harmless, but remember the thumb rule. So I'm going to do it to that feeder behind me, that hummingbird feeder. As long as I can cover that object with my thumb, right? I can't see it behind my thumb. I'm far enough away, all right? So look at a distance at snakes, okay? Make sure you can cover them up from a distance with your thumb, like, you know, you're looking at, okay, I'm far enough away, so that you don't get bit and so that you don't scare the animal, okay? So it's very important. But these are very, very helpful. They're huge friends to our garden. We want snakes around. Even if we're scared of snakes, we want to have them around. It doesn't mean we have to invite them inside, right? We just want them around. But a garter will bite if threatened, so, you know, you just want to keep your distance. The American toad, okay? Another great predator of insects. I have a toad that sits outside my garage at night. He's pretty big because I have lights out there. So if you have lights outside your house, look for things like bugs flying around, maybe bats at dusk, hunting for those bugs, toads on the ground, okay? You can find a lot of these predatory insects at night in your yard, and a lot of times during the day. So all times of the day. So the bugs will be attracted to those lights, and then it attracts these guys. So I have quite a few toads living around my garage to get those bugs at night. So another thing that eats bugs are fish, all right? So this is a bass. So a lot of fish like bass and bluegill and a lot of other fish eat insects like mayflies. So mayflies start their life in the water like a lot of insects do, and when they go up to emerge and they shed their exoskeleton and become a flying insect, and you'll see those crazy looking insects around, mayflies, some fish snatch them from the top of the water, and that's why fly fishermen make flies that look like the mayfly so that they can catch fish like this, okay? So they trick that fish into thinking that it's a real mayfly, all right? Now, mammals also. So mammals like the skunk eat insects. He digs for insects with his sharp claws and gets a lot of things like grubs, like June bug beetle grubs. Oh, we don't want those things, okay? They can really be damaging to a garden. Things like the fox will eat a lot of bugs. The fox is not that big of an animal, about the weight of our cat, okay? So they do eat a lot of small animals, mice, voles, moles, and lots of bugs. And things like possums, okay? The possum, I haven't brought him out in a while. So the possum likes to sniff around. They have a really good nose, and they like to sniff around for bugs, all right? They don't have really good hearing, even though they have big ears, and not really good eyesight, but super good smell for bugs. Coyote eat a lot of bugs, okay? They tend to show up when our guys are mowing, and it makes our guys a little nervous. Nothing to be nervous about. They're just there to eat bugs. They want nothing to do with the guys on the mower, but they know they're stirring up mice and lots of insects, okay? Raccoons are big bug eaters, mice, shrews. So lots of mammals eat bugs. So even people eat bugs. Now, I'm not planning on having me a beetle burger today. Not today. Probably never. But some people in some parts of the world eat lots of insects. And I've seen people here try things like the cicadas. They've made stuff out of cicadas and they eat them. But, and for survival, some people have had to eat insects for protein when they're trying to survive if they're stuck outside for some reason. They're, you know, stranded. So in some countries such as Australia, Africa, Cambodia, and other places, people eat bugs. Lots of Asian countries eat bugs. So probably not ready to try a bug today, are ya? But it is a meat source, okay? Not just for animals, but for people too. I'm just looking for some predator that eats these hoverflies that are everywhere right now, those little hoverflies. So I'm hoping there's more predators that eat those. Now, the word of the day, that's the end of the program today. I'm so glad you guys joined me today. The word of the day for Miss Maggie's summer program at the New Carlisle Library is insect, okay? All lowercase letters, okay? Insect is the word of the day because we talked a lot about insects being eaten, all right? All right, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you'll join me next month, and we do have a program coming up this Thursday on how to make an ant. That will be shown at 2 o'clock, 2 or 3 on Thursday. I can't remember the schedule, and I make it. We also have other programs coming up throughout the month, book reading programs and programs about wildlife. So this Friday, we talk about what to do if you have a groundhog in your yard that's driving your parents crazy. All right? Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.